it, one of your strategy is to try to sensitize Nigerians to see the evil of small arms and light weapons, and then you want to encourage them to surrender those weapons. But I tell you, if you succeed in making holders of those weapons to surrender all today, within a short time, you're going to have fresh weapons in the country. Why? Because the borders are porous. Like they said, most of those weapons are not manufactured. We are not manufactured. We are not fabricated within the country. Yeah, we know some are fabricated in the country, but most of them are not fabricated, they are not manufactured in the country, but they are coming from outside the country. When you have wars, warring nations surrounding us, and the borders are porous, and then Nigeria is attractive to fight out insurgents and terrorists. So with those three factors, you have the influx of those weapons into the country. I think it is high time for us now to start looking at the root of our problems, attacking our problem from the root, not just looking at the symptoms and then try to struggle to address the symptoms. We need to address our problem from the root. When you talk of small arms, for instance, light weapon proliferation in the country, influx into the country, you have to think of the borders. It is high time we fence some critical part of our borders in this country. Yes, we have to fence our borders. There are smart borders nowadays that can not just dictate, they also respond to threats. It is high time we start looking at that. Otherwise, you just be struggling and struggling with minimal progress. So our dream, our aspiration for a very peaceful, safe Nigeria, if we want that to come to realization, then we must begin to address the roots of our problems. And then it's not something we just address from one perspective alone. We have to attack it from various perspectives so that we can come out of it. It's very critical. Like you said, it's one of the critical driver of insecurity in Nigeria, because if they don't have weapons to fight, they won't fight. It's because they're having weapons, they are getting the weapon, they are getting the ammo. That's why you see they're attacking people. And they're also getting the drug. Why? The borders are porous. NDLA is doing fantastic job in the country. But are all the drugs manufactured in Nigeria? No. This border is one issue that we have to address head on if actually we want to secure the country. Even the porous border is not even making the country to see the impact of the effort of the military. We are making so much effort that everybody knows, except those that do not want to know. But the issue of porous border is making an effort to leak away. It's making the blood of soldiers, officers that died, to leak away. That's it. And I was reading about Sri Lanka recently, how they went, because people talk about them, Sri Lanka was able to militarily conquer or defeat an insurgency group. Fine. One of the things they did was to make sure they secure. There was this, Sri Lanka is an ally. They were able to impose sea blockade to make sure that the fighters within the country could not get any resources to fight. No weapon, all the things they needed. Even more fighters could not come to support them. That was what they were able to overcome. It's one major thing that we need to address. And one of my officers was saying that it's not something under the purview of the military. It's not the military that will fence the border. It's a national thing. And all of us, we have a responsibility. We just have to see it in that perspective and address it head on. And then you see that the improvement we're expecting will begin to manifest. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. Because I stated three factors. We have neighbors, countries around us that are not stable. They are at war. So our borders are porous. So as long as you have those factors interacting, you are going to be having more weapons because Nigeria is also lucrative to them. Those are the issues. So we just wish you success in your endeavor. For us, as you know, your statement, you talk about the commitment and readiness of the Chief of Defense Staff to give all the support as he's been doing. You can be sure that we'll give all the support you need to you because we know that it is whole of society approach that will resolve this problem. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm Major General the Director Campaign Plan. I think we need to look at border control in terms of this issue. We have discussed that severally in this call when we normally have a more than a weekly intelligence brief analysis. So we need to look at border control, which is very, very important. If we can find a way to ensure that borders are well controlled, then it will be a way to reduce this proliferation of small arms. Because basically, it was after the Libyan crisis that the influx became more. So I think that's the aspect that we need to look at. And the resources available to the armed forces is not adequate. It's not adequate. So I think in terms of budgetary allocation too, we have to look at trying to see how we can enhance the resources that are available to the armed forces so that we can carry out this mandate. Thank you, sir.
Very senior officer here present, officer gentlemen. I just want to ask you what I'm Major General Line Director of Police once again. Just to add to what the Director of Campaign Planning said, this issue is a very contentious one because, like you earlier mentioned, it is proliferation of small arms and light weapons is one of the major drivers of insecurity in Nigeria. And most of these weapons, as I been said also, are weapons that come into the country through our porous borders. And they get into the hands of non-state actors and other criminals that use them for their nefarious activities. Another area we should also look at some elements in the paramilitary sectors. Somebody was saying it the other time that a large number of weapons, it was reported in the news, was missing from one security agency. And I think that calls for concern if we have as much as 70,000 of such weapons getting missing and unaccounted for. What it implies is that some of these security agencies, especially the paramilitary ones, might not have the mechanism to control weapons that are legitimately given to them, aid their work. So if they don't have such mechanism, then I think there's a problem. So I think the committee should also take this very serious aspect, which is also fueling the proliferation. Because once they say proliferation, you know, it's illegal weapons. That tendency is illegal weapons. What of the legal ones that are going into the hands of criminals, either through bad elements and security issues that so I think it's important for the community. Thank you, sir.
Miso, an accountant and a fellow, representing the good people of Miso, Dambam Federal Constituency, and I am from Bauchi State. By the leave of the Speaker, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas Ian Zozo, I have the privilege of being the chair of Small Arms and Light Weapons Committee. Distinguished Sir, it is both an honor and privilege to stand before you today as chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Our committee is dedicated to addressing the pressing issue of small arms proliferation in our beloved country, Nigeria. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude for your warm welcome and for the invaluable service each of you provides to our dear nation, Nigeria. As we are all aware, the issue of small arms and light weapons is not merely a matter of national security. It is a pressing humanitarian concern that affects the everyday lives of our citizens. The escalation of proliferation of these weapons has far-reaching consequences contributing to erosion of trust within our communities. Violence and instability in our collective instability. It is our collective responsibility to address this challenge with agency and resolve. We believe that harmonious working relationship between the legislative arm and the armed forces is crucial in addressing this challenge. By pooling our resources, expertise, knowledge, we can develop an innovative solution to the problem posed by small arms and light weapons. Distinguished Sir, today we are here to seek collaboration to foster a strong working relationship between the officers. Together we can develop and implement a comprehensive strategies that curb the spread of small arms and light weapons. I believe that a united front among our institutions will empower us to tackle these issues more effectively. I will want to take us to some key areas we would like to collaborate to include, but not limited to, capacity building, providing training and capacity building program for the military personnel and other stakeholders to enhance their ability to address small arms proliferation. Legislative support, working together to develop and implement effective laws and policies, including budget, to prevent the proliferation of arms and light weapons. Thirdly, public awareness campaigns. We need to engage our communities in understanding the dangers posed by this proliferation of the weapons. By raising awareness, we can improve citizens to participate in initiatives aimed at promoting peace and security. Finally, I urge us to explore international partnership, the global nature of our arms trafficking. This is instead that we work hand in hand with other nations to secure our porous borders and organization to curb the issue by aligning our efforts with international standards and best practices. We can strengthen our resolve and effectiveness. In conclusion, I reiterate our commitment to work closely with each of you. Our shared goal is to create a safer environment for all citizens, free from the threats posed by small arms and light weapons. Together we can build a legacy of peace, stability, and future generations.